What's up, all you motorcycle enthusiasts, and welcome to the V-Twin Life here on YouTube. We talk motorcycles powered by those V-Twins, what fuels our passion, why we enjoy it so much. V-Twin Life is brought to you by these two great companies, Crashing Clothing and Wild Ass Seats. Hey, you want to add some comfort to your ass when you're out riding, whether you're a 400-mile guy, or maybe a guy that's pushing 1,000 plus, or female rider for that matter? Hey, check out wild-ass.com and add some comfort to your ass. Can't forget Crashing Clothing, that Northwest brand out of the Pacific Northwest. Hey, these guys got a lot of great stuff, from t-shirts to hats, raincoats, you name it. Hey, they can get you covered. Check out crashingclothing.com. Now, let's dive into another milepost of the V-Twin Life. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another milepost of the V-Twin Life. This is pretty big. We're milepost 78, which is awesome, but we've now gone international. We got Robin the Lady Biker tuning in down in Australia. That's pretty freaking cool. It's,
It is.
evening time. I'm having, my cold beverage, and she's having coffee.
Here's one that'll warp most people's brains. I don't caffeinate. Can you imagine this on caffeine?
Got a point. Okay. Well, hey, thank you for, getting up early, because it is, 8 o'clock down there in the morning right now. It's Sunday for all of us, and you're in the future. You're in Monday.
Yes, it's Monday morning here over on the west coast of Australia. Look at this way. We're from one west coast to the other.
Hey, there you go. Nice. I like it. No, yeah, it seems weird, a lot of people, you're trying to figure out, Midwestern, Central Time Zone, East Coast, and this threw a whole monkey wrench into it. It's like, man, we got to really figure out how we can make this work. Because what is it?
It's not too bad right now. I'm sorry?
I think, 15-hour difference? Something like
From
that.
you, yes. Yeah.
Excuse me. So how have everything been?
Well, now that we actually have the bikes, have all of our stuff, and we're able to get out and get around, it's starting to kind of get back into a rhythm. But there was about an 8-month stretch there that was a little challenging. And
I could imagine.
Yeah, especially, the 6 months and 21 days that I was without my bike, but who's counting?
Right, yeah, 6 months, 21 days. Nah, you weren't counting at all.
Nope.
So did you get a rental at any point during that time just to get some time on two wheels, or was it just flat out suffering?
Oh, no. I actually, two different things. The first time I rented from a place called West Coast Motorcycle Hire, and the gentleman that owns that I think he's the only one that rents Harleys here on the West Coast. If anybody in here in Australia is on, and I'm wrong, correct me. But he has a gorgeous Heritage that I rented twice. And one was a Mother's Day gift. And the other was when Rob from Throttle Down Under, who I sees in side chat, he was over here in Perth, he and his wife. And so we both ended up with loaner bikes for the day. And that was one of my first trips really outside of Perth to explore. And we had, 3 other guys with us. And so it was me and the boys. And it was great. We went up north to the Pinnacles, which is a stunning location. And it was just a good day. So we did that. And then I have met an amazing group of female riders here called Glow, Gorgeous Ladies on Wheels. And there was a girls only trip down to a town called Collie. And one of the girls had an extra bike, a Suzuki Boulevard. And she just called me up and said, come get the bike. And I'm like, I love y'all. And I was able to ride a little bit, but there's nothing like your own bike.
Right.
It's just, and so many people ask why I didn't just sell Scarlett and buy something new here, but Scarlett's one that has an emotional attachment to me. And even though looking back, I would do things a little different moving forward, but I'm so glad I went ahead and shipped her. it was worth it.
That must have been quite the experience. Just, I mean, I had that as one of my questions is, if you've had any advice you give somebody if they were doing, a move like yours and, going through the experience of trying to ship a bike down there and, all the, I can only imagine the paperwork on all the stipulations and whatnot that got to go along with trying to ship a bike from here to there.
The two biggest pieces of advice I would give, let's make it three. If you're traveling for just a trip, like I was listening to who was it? Two Lane Life broadcast, and they had one of the co-owners or co-founders of Eagle Rider on. And some people had popped up, hey, I'm going to Ireland. Hey, I'm going here. I'm going there. Should we ship our own bikes? My answer, don't. It is, you can't control certain things, and so you can't guarantee your bike will be there. It's so much easier just to rent the bike, and probably cheaper too. Just rent the bike. You show up, it's ready to go. You drop your stuff in it. You're off. You're riding. You come back. You step off of it with your luggage, and you're done. So if you're traveling, just rent one. If you're moving, invest in a broker. Get someone who understands the laws in both countries, because that took so many headaches out of the whole process. Yes, you're going to pay for it, but it's worth every single penny, because once we got here, everything went right through the system. But be very clear about your expectations before you sign anything, because we thought we were, and we weren't. And a lot of things changed in the process yeah. So if I were to do it again in the future, I would be very direct. And I want this in writing. This is how often you will communicate with me. I want you to put in writing exactly how you're going to ship it. Just be very, very detailed and kind of a pain in the butt until you get exactly what you want.
No, it's good advice.
Yeah. Because when we first started, they were supposed to be on a ship within 2 weeks, individually crated. When it was all said and done, it took us 3 months to get them off the dock in LA.
Ooh.
Yeah. It took longer to get them off the dock in LA than it did to get them shipped and through customs and delivered here.
Wow.
Yep. But I got my girl back. Oh, yeah. But it was worth it, because I've got her back now. And I've already put, I think in a little over a month, I've already put like 5,000 miles on her.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Hey, might as well, because, you're getting into, summertime down there. So,
yeah,
we're all up here in the States heading into the colder months, and you're heading into the warmer months.
Everything here is opposite of what I'm used to.
I bet.
But it's part of the fun.
That's cool. I know, I was looking back, it's like you were last, so you came on towards the beginning, would have been, actually it was before we even called them Mileposts. January 13th of 21 was episode 22 when you were on. That was even before I had taken the YouTube plunge, and it's always fun to catch back up. I mean, you're always, in the side chat and when I do the episodes, we've, Facebook friends, and it's a lot of fun to get you back on where you're doing this, live and kind of face to face in a way, and, catch up and hear some stories and about, now you're getting the adventures down under.
Oh yeah. It is this place. Now I'm so looking forward to going east, and I'm planning, if I can pull it off, I'm planning to ride across to the East Coast and ride in Southern Australia, Victoria, New South Wales, Queensland. So basically all the way up the eastern side. And there's so many amazing motovloggers on the East Coast that I want to connect with. So I've got it. But riding across Australia and riding across the US are quite different, because you can, in the US you might go, what is it? Maybe 50, 60 miles sometimes out in west between fuel stations and like populated areas and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Here you can go 125 to 150 miles. And then the next thing you find is nothing but a single pump with a card reader. And that's the only thing. And then it's another 150 miles before you see any civilization. So it's going to take a little different planning, and I'm still having to work through the logistics on that. But, oh, hey, thanks, Rob. Yeah, that's the view out my window on one side of my house. I love it here. But, so it, I'm looking forward to that, but it's, just so much has changed since the last time I was on. I mean, not only just for me, but for you too. Like you said, the first time we did this, it was completely audio. There was no visuals.
Yeah, over the phone.
Yeah. And you're like, give me a minute. I got to get this going. Okay. I'm good. Let's go.
Yeah. It was a little different back then. I've learned, I've grown a little bit, learned some new tricks and still learning. I mean, you always, it's like anything. It's a learning curve and you keep learning and you progress as you go.
Definitely. Talking about it whenever we were backstage before we went live about how, I was looking back at some of my early videos, and I have a couple of like my very first ones that are still kind of evergreen videos, but I'm looking at them going, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that with nothing but my iPhone. And how the heck did I edit it again?
iMovie?
And yeah. And then to see, like the one I put up today where I did some in my helmet, some face to camera, some voiceover, you do learn. And in my job as a fitness instructor and personal trainer, I told someone, that was one of my things I tell all the new people coming in. The day you say, I can't learn anything else is the day you need to stop what you're doing. Because there's always something to learn.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like, down there, it's like when we were talking, like saying, earlier before we went live is, to me, I think the adjustment would be getting used to riding on, as I'll put it, the wrong side of the road. It would just be weird. I don't know. I think it'd take a little bit for myself.
Well, it is different. It didn't take me long as I'm focusing. It took me about 30 minutes to get accustomed to, where we have, left turn lanes where you sit forever. Here it's right turns. And remembering, okay, short left, long right. Where in the U.S. it's opposite. And it's the only time I still have to kind of go is whenever I'm, like I was saying, is when something happens and you just have to react. Well, since I was 14 years old, I was driving on the right-hand side of the road. And now being on the left-hand side, I want to go right. And that's like the worst thing you should do.
Yeah.
And so it is still taking, a little bit. And there's certain things that, if I'm tired, I know I cannot ride because that's where I'm going to make mistakes that will get myself and someone else hurt. But yeah, it is taking a little bit to, I still walk up on our SUV that we got here. I still walk up to what is the driver's side and go, crap, that's the passenger side. I have to walk around.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I didn't think about that aspect too. I was just thinking a motorcycle was, but yeah, you get so used to, you've driven that way forever, and then now, you're 6 months into everything being flipped around and gotta adapt and overcome.
Well, even the night skies here are different, and street signs, the look and the positioning of street signs here are different. And, you get out on these, what we call truly backcountry roads, but they're highways here. But you also have to keep in mind, and for anyone who's watching that doesn't realize this, the landmass of Australia is roughly the same size as the continental 48. So for like me here in Perth to someone in Sydney would be like going from San Diego to Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah,
it's huge. Now, picture that. Now, the entire half, the western half of Australia is one state. So for me to leave the state, I would have to drive or ride probably 2 full days just to get out of the state.
Holy cow. That's
Yeah,
huge.
it is. It's really it's different, but it is stunningly beautiful here. I don't know how to exactly describe it, but the colors are just more saturated. And maybe it's because it's such a dry environment here. We don't have the humidity in the air, but it is, and I rock up on a recent trip into Calbury, and a lake is truly bubblegum pink. It was the oddest thing and coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. And then the next day when we go down to the beach, the water is truly turquoise and the rocks are red. And it's stunning. It is, and the people here are amazing. Some of the most giving and friendly people I have ever met. So
Well, your camping video you did, that water, you're talking water, that was beautiful too. The beach and everything else from your video that came out today I was watching. It's like, God, just gorgeous.
It is. It is beautiful here. But the other side of it is, the people the people here are just, they're kind and they're giving and it's just, we're really grateful that the experience, as difficult as it's been doing the whole transition, we've been blessed with some truly good things here.
That's cool.
So,
that's really good.
Yeah.
Actually, Springer Mike had a good question because what's the food difference? Is there much of a culture difference with food as compared, to the United States?
Oh my gosh. Okay. That food is just one aspect. If you want to talk about cultural differences, that's another topic that we can get into, because it's the funniest thing is me trying to figure out their slang because it is so different than the US. So the food differences. Mike, because we're so close to Asia, there's a very strong Asian influence to the food here, but it's also, they're very proud of their nation and the things that make them different. And so Australian cooking and using a lot of truly unique Australian ingredients is here too. And so I have yet to try that yet. I have not gotten brave enough.
Not to interrupt you, there's the Perth Colts. They're out of Perth, Australia. They come up for a big tournament here in Port Angeles every year. They have now for 3 years. And the first year we housed 2 of the kids from Australia. And we were talking about some of that, the slang terms and the food and whatnot, and just the culture difference. We had so much fun with those kids. It was freaking hysterical. And, they were rattling off some of that. And one of them actually brought a jar of Vegemite with him. It's like, holy Jesus. It was comical. But no, it was so much fun with those kids.
Yeah, that's one I haven't quite been brave enough to try yet. So, but my husband and I are foodies, so we love experimenting and trying. And the one thing that I do really appreciate here is in the U.S., finding certain Asian cuisines is not that easy because there's certain ingredients that the U.S. just doesn't have the right climate to grow them in the quantities to make them kind of, what do you call it? To make it marketable. But here you get, they're readily available. And so we're really playing a lot more with Vietnamese and Thai and, just different Asian cuisines. And it's really good. I'm enjoying it. So then again, I'm the crazy one who will say, well, I'll try just about anything once.
That's good. But no, because even they were saying some like the food menus, even the names are, say if you went to McDonald's, and it's just some of the names of stuff that it's just totally different. I don't know.
Oh, recent one. A friend of mine reached out to me, and because I was getting her, I asked her to pick something up for me, and she went, "Hey, do you want me to post it to you?" And I went, "What?" post it. And it took me a minute. And I actually, was reading down because it was a group thread, and I got a little further down, and it finally dawned on me, mail it to me. And I went, oh, no. I'll see you in a week. I'll just get it from you then.
Oh.
And then when we went to Collie, and we all parked the bikes, and the women of Glow were hysterical. And the comment was, all right, everyone drop your stuff, put your onesies on. We're running to the bottle-o. And I'm like, okay. And they literally, like 80% of the women that went, and we had, I think, 35 of us on that trip. It was a big group. All come out in these like onesies, get on their bikes. And it dawned on me when we pulled up, the bottle-o is the liquor store. But it's a bottle shop because it's a shop full of bottles, right? And so it's been all these little things, and parking garages are car parks. RVs or caravans. It's just little things that you pick up as you keep going. To Daytona. Oh my goodness. Oh, thank you, Mrs. Monkey. Now you want to talk about another badass lady. That is one.
The most viewed episode I ever had. And the longest.
I am not surprised
at all. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, Bri, come on. If you want me to, I don't think I could stand on my head right now. It's still too early in the morning.
I know my wife had a good question. She wanted to know about spiders. Have you seen any big ass nasty spiders down there yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
haven't seen any, a lot of the things, and of course where we've been camping and such have been somewhat organized areas. So we haven't seen a lot of the, even though they have signs up to be watchful for snakes, I haven't seen anything like that or the big spiders or anything. But the strangest thing is to wake up and you go outside your tent or your hotel room and there's kangaroos. And trying to, and then trying to explain to people here that they're basically Australia's white-tailed deer. They're about the same size and mass, but they're stupid like deer are. And if the absolute wrong thing to do is exactly what they're gonna do. So instead of seeing, deer on the side of the road, you see kangaroos. Or an emu.
Oh yeah, the big old emus. Ostriches.
Yep. Okay, Drew, he was asking, can you pop his up?
Yep.
All right. My kids asked me that before I left. Now, when I first got here, the structure of their toilets and how they manufacture them are different. So not all of them actually are spherical in the bowl like ours are. But I finally found one, and it does go the other direction. It freaked me out. It really does.
Oh, that's freaking good.
But it took a while because, it's just like anything else. It's different manufacturers. They do things different. And that's been part of the whole experience, is just embracing the differences. And, they don't have to be like us in the U.S. It's kind of fun that they're different. And it's different experiences. And it just makes everything more fun and more, there's stuff to learn and people to meet and experiences to have. Because you know what? If we were all the same, it would be very dull.
Yeah. So the other thing I wrote up some questions like with motorcycling down there. Mm-hmm. Is there a difference with octanes down there when, for getting fuel wise? Is like, back home you got the 87, 89, 92 for premium. Do they have, is there, do you notice a difference with it, or, what is their octane levels like?
Oh, yeah. 91, 95, and 98. And the bikes do perform so much better.
I bet.
Oh, yeah. We get so much more power and better fuel economy.
Oh yeah, you get the better octane, the better fuel in it, and they're gonna perform better. That's awesome. I didn't know that. That's why just
Mm-hmm.
random things I was thinking the other night. It's okay. I gotta make notes of it so I remember.
And one of the questions I get quite a bit is what's the cost of fuel over here? So you have to kind of do the conversions of liters to gallons and then from Australian to US dollars. But fuel here is just a little bit less than what it is there on the West Coast. So it's, except for diesel. Diesel is stupid high right now. It's like
Oh, it's stupid high here.
2.27 a liter. And there's
There's what?
almost 4 liters to a gallon.
Oh Jesus, that's brutal.
Yeah. And the conversion rate right now is about, ooh, about, I think it's 80 US cents to the Australian dollar. So it's, it's running at about $6.50, $7 a gallon for diesel here. Yeah.
Yeah, I know diesel where I'm at right now. I think we're around 550 ish,
Yeah.
and then yeah, gas. I
Every
think 509 for unleaded.
Oh, and it's petrol. It's not gas. It's petrol. That was another one I had to get used to. But yeah, Rob, I agree. I put 89 any chance I get into. We put in both the girls. Yeah, our bikes are the girls. Cherry and Scarlet. So we put
Yeah.
98 in ours as well, and they run amazingly well here.
Oh, I bet it's like mine. I had to when I did my Monsters Over Mountains run. One of the fuel stops we got to, they didn't have premium, and they only had non-ethanol 87, and my bike hated it. Oh God, ran like horrible.
Yeah.
Didn't like it at all.
Well, that's one of the things, because whenever you get out in the outback or in those long stretches where you might have, like I said, one pump in a card reader, it's probably going to be 91, which the bikes will run okay on that. But that's one of the things that I'm going to have to just remember to throw in the saddlebag when I make that trip is octane booster,
Yeah,
because they
and then
do run so much better.
and yeah, get yourself one of those fuel reserve bottles just for an extra, just to have, especially like you're saying down there, you get that vast wide open of nothing. Cheap insurance would be a little bit of extra bike, fuel you can carry on you just in case. You never know.
Oh yeah. Even though, they're big touring bikes, so they have 6-gallon tanks. I could probably go 500 kilometers or a little over 300 miles on a tank. But when you're in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
yeah, it's worth it just to have a reserve bottle in a saddlebag.
Oh, absolutely. Cheap insurance. Let's see, what else did I have?
Oh yeah.
Well, I guess yeah. Now you're like we were talking earlier. The season's changing. Like here, we're going winter, and you're just getting to the peak riding
Into
season down
spring.
there on the other side of the hemisphere.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing is where I am has some of the best weather. I mean, absolute best weather. You can truly ride year round here. I used to joke how the riding season when we were in California was 350 days a year, and it's about the same here. And even when they say that, there's an 80% chance of rain, their weather, if you look, it may say 80% chance of less than 1 millimeter, which means it's going to sprinkle on you for 5 minutes and then it's gone.
Nice.
Thank you, Amy. I like that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it was
No,
fun. Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna, come around. It's, we women are still only about 25% of the population as riders. Now, whenever you take into account all of the women that love to ride double up, and that's where they feel comfortable and that's what they enjoy, it's about 50-50. But as far as riders, I mean, we're still the minority. And so it's really, there's something special about the women who ride. it's just a whole different, unique group of women. And yeah, most of them are badasses.
And I found them. I mean, the place is doing some research and whatnot, and the numbers of female riders in the last 5 years has grown dramatically, which is
Mhm.
awesome.
In the
Which
last
is
10 years, we went from like 7% to 21%.
which is super cool.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's like a lot of us, yourself, I mean, even a lot of the guys in the side chat that we get to talk to is the motorcycle community as a whole. It's an awesome community to be part of. The support, the friendships, I mean, everything that goes
Oh,
along
yeah.
with it. You meet friends, and they become lifelong friends, and it's a awesome group of people to be a part of.
Oh, yeah. You're never going to find anyone or any group collectively as amazing as the motorcycle community. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you ride. It doesn't matter what your nationality, your faith, your skin color. It doesn't matter. It's a family.
Yeah.
And, if you're on the side of the road broken down and another bike and there's no one there helping you and a biker comes by, they're going to stop. That doesn't happen in a car, and that doesn't happen anywhere else. And I'm finding that not only is it like that in the US, it's the same thing here. And so I would assume it's pretty much that way anywhere. And this community is just the most accepting and the most inclusive I've ever been a part of.
That's a good way of putting it. Very true. So now, have you found you got a dealership down there in your area for when it comes to servicing, or how have you getting around that aspect? So, when you want work doing whatever to your bike, if you guys are comfortable in doing it yourselves.
Well, yeah, we have 3 in the Perth Metroplex. We have 3 Harley dealerships, and the one that I will go to without question, hands down, is Perth Harley-Davidson. Now, like with any Harley-Davidson dealership, you're going to have people like myself who have had amazing experiences. And then you're going to have those that didn't have very good experiences. It just, it depends on the day and the person, and just a lot of different factors. But
I think that's going to happen anywhere.
I agree. But the group at Perth Harley have bent over backwards. They have done just as much research, if not more. They have invested time, energy, everything to help me. Because when we brought the bikes over, the question was, what do we have to do to meet the laws here in Western Australia so we could get them registered? And, after all the research and all these different conflicting, the service manager, Regan, came to me. He called me and he said, Robin, I am so sorry, but I've got a contact who has done this with other makes. He usually worked, the other guy, Leon, usually works on Suzuki's, Yamahas, that sort of stuff. He's like, but at least he can get you started. And whenever I went to him and he's like, oh, you're a personal import. He's like, I can't do it, but let me call my friend who works in the department that you're going to have to go to. And so, I mean, that's there again, the motorcycle community. And, everything that we need, anything we need, like the next thing I'm going to do on Scarlet is get suspension. And, Regan's already told me, well, just let me know. I've got you kind of tentatively in this week, we can get her done. And just let me know when you've got when you're ready to pull the trigger and buy the suspension and get it done. And, he's, yeah. And whenever I had to do I just did a minor modification that I'm going to be doing a review on before long. It was, I adore him. He's like, okay, everything finally came in. Harley quit pushing the back order back. He's like, it's Monday afternoon. Can you have her in Wednesday morning? I'll get it done. And I'm like, sure. I mean, they have just been amazing. The parts guys, I mean, all 3 of them, if I go in there and they don't have it, they will spend part of their day trying to track it down somewhere here in Australia to get it in as soon as they can. I mean, they've just been amazing, and they have earned my trust.
Yeah, I could bet shipping. I mean, if someplace didn't have it, could be a bit of a nightmare when it's got to come halfway around the world. Could be a bit of
Well,
a time consuming crunch.
it is, and Perth is tagged the most remote city in the world because it is hours from anything. The only people I think that might have more trouble with shipping would be those in Tasmania.
Yeah, because that's down even farther south off Australia, isn't it?
Oh yeah, although I can't wait to go ride that in a few years. That's
Yeah, you're talking about that.
February of 24. Going to meet up with all the Australian motovloggers, and we're riding Tassie for 5 days.
That would be an epic experience.
Oh yeah, truly epic. That and next, summer for y'all, winter for us. Yeah, I bet they do struggle to get stuff. In July, like I was telling you earlier, the ladies aglow, and we're doing a week-long trip to Phuket, and we're going to spend half of it just hanging out and all that. But the other half of it is we're going to spend about 3 or 4 days just riding in Thailand on motorcycles. I'm
That would be an
so ready for that.
experience too.
Oh yeah. And
really, I mean, would that be flight wise? I mean, not drastically long for you down there to get to Thailand.
It's about like trying to get over to the Yucatan in Mexico.
Okay.
It's not that bad. I think it's like a 4 or 5 hour flight. It's not bad.
Oh no, that wouldn't be bad at all then.
Mm-hmm.
You guys just gonna do like a Eagle Rider, basically like we were talking earlier? You're just gonna rent bikes up there and hit the road and go?
That's the thing that's still being discussed, because when we go, I definitely am going to want a smaller bike trying to ride in Thailand because of the topography and the roads and everything. I don't know if I want to put one of our big ass Harleys on those roads there, because there's some areas that, yeah, I'm thinking that one's going to be, a little 400, 500cc bike.
Tell you what, the Boulevard, those C50s are 800s, and they are super comfortable. They have a low seat height,
Mm-hmm.
and they perform well. I mean, I had one for years, and it was a great bike.
Well, my friend Kathy, when she loaned me her Boulevard, and I want to say it was a 800, I'd have to reach out to her and ask her. But that was one of the best balanced bikes I've ever ridden.
Yeah, that's when the C50 was the 800, the C90s were their 1500s. And those were the cruiser models. They had the S lineup, which was, kind of a sport standard. I mean, still cruiser style, but just total different seating position and ergonomics to it. But yeah, my C50 I had, even Amy, my wife, she loved it. It was a comfortable riding bike.
Yeah.
Very well balanced. You had a super low seat height on it. And no, I had no complaints about that bike whatsoever.
Yeah, it was a great bike. I told her, anytime you're just needing it ridden, call me. I'll come over and get it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what else you got planned coming up? I know you guys have been doing your moto camping and getting out exploring on the bikes.
Well, Thursday we're heading out to came in contact with another group of ladies, and these are all women that are seriously into camping, from tents to out of their car to caravans or RVs. So we're going to be doing they think it's weird because they show up with their SUVs and everything packed. I mean, literally packed to the ceiling with stuff. And Allie and I show up with, 3 bags on the backs of our bikes and set up our camp. And they're like, I am so impressed at how lean you camp. And I'm like, sister, there's only so much room on this bike. Just saying. We're doing that. And then in 2 weeks, we're heading down to the Kern Valley, which is kind of like, for Western Australia, it's closer to what you would see around the sequoias and the redwoods and all of that. So that's in 3 weeks. And then I'm going to do a track days with the girls. So we're heading back down to Collie, which has a raceway. And we're going to spend the day doing basically like performer bagger stuff and, learning.
Badass.
Oh yeah. Learning new techniques. And then I have a daughter coming in, and then it's my 50th birthday's coming up in February.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. It's weird. I'm not old enough. In my brain, I'm still 24. Anyway, so that trip, we're going to go down on the coast. And then we're going in March with Glow again to this place called Esperance. And it's, again, one of those where you see the pictures and go, that's got to be Photoshopped. It's not. It's now, a bunch of them are like, yeah, we're going to take our bikes and we're going to go ride on the beach. And I'm like, you do realize that my bike is like 850 pounds, like 385 kilos? Nah, we'll have to see how packed that sand is.
Yeah.
But, and then Margaret River, and then I'll be coming back to the U.S. in May because one of my babies is graduating college.
And congratulations.
Yeah, I'm so proud. The youngest one is the first one to graduate. But yeah, they, and then of course, like I said, Phuket and Tassie. But one of the things, and we're in the very beginning stages of this, is, and at first I thought, okay, this was one of those where everyone had, was like 4 drinks in kind of conversations, but no, they really want to do it. We'll probably be bringing a group from here in Perth to California and we're going to start with Babes Ride Out. Because the girls have heard about Babes Ride Out and they want to do it. So we'll start there, and then that will follow on with 2 weeks of riding just the western half of the U.S. and, taking them to places like the Grand Canyon and Zion and Monument Valley and the $1 Million Highway and through the Sequoias, maybe the Redwoods.
Head up to Washington, hit that North Cascades Highway.
A lot of it's going to depend on the group, because it's a real mixed group with experience. And so, yeah, it's just going to depend on how much we can cover in that time frame. But, if I could get them up into like Yellowstone and Beartooth and across, 12 across Montana, Idaho into Washington, where it's that 99 miles winding roads.
Highway 2.
Is it 2?
I think it's Highway 2.
Yeah, and then of course, they're along the Columbia Gorge, and then catch up into.
Oh no, I know what you're talking about. Highway 12 that goes from Montana down to Idaho. That's Lolo Pass.
Yeah, through the Lolo Pass. Yeah.
Yeah, through the Beartooth Mountains.
Mm-hmm. That is, but being able to show them, because so many people, it's really interesting hearing some of the misconceptions of what people think of from the news that they see about the U.S. And I'm like, no. Let me come and let me show you the beauty that is America. And so, yeah. And of course, we got to take them on Route 66, of course. I mean, come on.
Well, Utah with all their state parks. It's one place. I've been down to Salt Lake City one time, which actually we drove down there to pick up a motorcycle. My dad and my best friend's like my brother. But I so want to do Utah through Zion Arches and Canyon Reef. And I want to go, one place I want to go see that's towards the top of my bucket list for sure.
Bryce Canyon, add that to the list. Bryce Canyon is stunning. Yeah.
That would be awesome. I know this year we did the Grand Tetons, and though that was freaking amazing coming across.
I know, right?
Oh, it was just beautiful. You're on Teton past me, you're 10,000 feet elevation. It's like, holy cow. And you could tell you were hard because those Top Gear roll-ons came on a little bit slower at that elevation. But, the scenery and everything through Wyoming coming across the Tetons was just beautiful. And we came down through one of the valleys outside Jackson. There's a massive herd of buffalo. And my son, hey, Dad, you want to go take a selfie? I'm like, dude, I'm not right. I'm not taking a selfie with buffaloes. Let's go. And I saw one, we were coming up on a corner and there's a big tree, and I seen the bison to the right of the tree, and he was coming towards the highway, and got on we had the Lexans, and I got on the intercom with Hayden. I'm like, hey, go easy and kind of come wide through that corner. I said, there's a buffalo behind that tree. I mean, that'd be the last thing you want to do is run into a freaking buffalo on the highway.
Yeah.
But I
I
mean, we
was
were,
going to say,
taking it easy through that area. But seeing a wild buffalo was amazing.
it is. We saw him in Yellowstone. Oh gosh, the summer of 21, 21. We saw a bunch of them there. Have you ridden Beartooth yet?
No, not yet.
All right. When you do, and there's like the Chief Joseph Highway as well, that's close to it, you got to ride
Mhm.
both. You got to ride
Okay.
both. Because, I mean, you're riding along and all of a sudden you realize you're at 12,000 feet and the road is like a lane and a half wide. No guardrails, no nothing.
Well, now I know my
I'm
wife ain't
done.
coming. Amy's gonna say, "Hell no! If there's big cliffs, she ain't doing it."
Oh, it's not cliffs. It's just you're riding like a ridge line. So it's worth it. It's
I've seen some videos
it'll
of it. It just looks beautiful and just awesome scenery and topography.
Oh yeah, I think I burned out three GoPro batteries just on that part of the ride.
I wouldn't doubt it.
It's amazing. I'm so ready to just like when I lived in Europe in the early 2000s, being here, it really makes you, as much as you're enjoying and you're loving where you're at in the moment, it does make you really appreciate home.
Understandable. So, well, actually, on that one, is Australia going to be your home permanently? You think, or will you end up maybe in 5, 10 years down the road coming back to the states?
No, our current plan is because our current work visa, we still have 3.5 years on it. But the project that my husband was brought here, because we came here for his work.
Hmm.
And so they've already told him that if things progress the way they anticipate it, they will extend the visa at least another 2 years. So we're looking at probably a total of 6 years here. But all of our kids are in the US.
Right. Hard
I
being
like it
away.
here, but I don't want to be away from my babies, even though my babies are old enough to have babies. Oh gosh. Ugh.
I
That
understand. I'm 100% understand that one.
Yeah, but you don't want to be on the other side of the world from them forever.
Right.
So yeah, we'll be coming back. The question is when we come back, where do we want to settle? And we've talked
Good
about
point.
everything from Texas to Arkansas to Tennessee. Um, we don't know.
Well, you have time to think about it and figure it out.
Yeah, we joke how we don't know what we're going to want to be when we grow up.
Yeah, I get that. I just look out windows all day, every day. Sit there and drive down the road in my semi and look out the window and haul
Yeah.
lumber from one place to the next.
Oh wow. Yeah, you do come from that country, don't you?
Yeah. Yep.
I was just no another thing popped up from Springer Mike about mountains here in Australia. Here in Western Australia, not so much. We've got foothills. If you're talking like Appalachians, Rockies, I would say more towards the lower parts of the Appalachian kind of topography. But you get over east, I think southeast. And I think Rob from Throttle Down Under dropped off already. I think he had to get to work.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think over somewhere on the eastern side, they do have some pretty good sized mountains that get snow, and that's where all the snow skiing and such for Australia is. So I haven't seen it yet, but I'm looking forward to it. So
I know it was weird. I remember years ago I was watching ESPN. They were snow skiing in Australia, and to me it just seemed really weird. I'm like, you always think of everything you see of Australia, just a vast desert in a way, really dry,
Mhm.
super hot. And it's like they have snow. Okay, didn't see that one coming, but yeah, it was just kind
well,
of
I mean,
weird.
think about the US. I mean, if
Yeah.
what the US was primarily known for was, the desert Southwest,
Hmm. True.
seeing the swamps of the Gulf Coast would be mind blowing. Um, and they've got such a vast topography here. Now, there again, it's it's different. We ride north in the winter to get to the heat, and we ride south in the summer to get away from the heat.
Yeah,
but you
that
go
would be
up,
a change.
it is. But you get up north of us, and that's what we've been riding because it's been the winter. We go north, so it gets a little warmer. It's very desertous and a lot of sand and limestone and that kind of stuff with low scrub brush. Not a lot of trees unless they're non-native. But when you go south of Perth, you're getting into all the eucalyptus, the jarrah, oh gosh, I'm still learning all of them, the carry, all these different trees that are unique and special to Australia. And they're big. And there's one near, we would call it Albany. Here it's Albany. But they have a treetop walk. So they have trees that are similar to the sequoias. And instead of driving through them, they're actually rope bridges strung. And you can walk along the treetops amongst these giant trees.
That would be
I'm like,
freaking cool.
Yeah, I'm wanting to go do that. I'm thinking I'm going to try and plan a trip. One of our kids will be here through her winter break in college. And I think we're going to plan a trip.
Video of that. I would love to see a video of that. That would be freaking cool.
What do you think? You don't go to the grocery store without doing a video when you're a motovlogger. Come on.
I know. I'm trying to get the courage up for more stuff. It's like I got all these videos, and it's like I'm just scared to put them together. But I just got to pull the trigger.
Yeah. You're not going to be happy with any of them. Advice: get it to 85% good enough and turn it loose into the world. You're going to learn from every single one you do.
Good advice. Very true.
Because if you're waiting for it to be perfect, it'll never be perfect.
Yeah, that's very true. So true. Yeah. Well, this has been fun. Been a while.
It has been. Yeah.
I know I had some other ones, but I had another great question, but I got to get back to my notepad here.
Well, that's okay. I've been known to talk to a brick wall, so that's not a problem. Yeah, HD AV traveler. I'm coming back to Texas. I'll be back there in May. Got to go see my because I've got 3 kids in 3 different universities in Texas. One of them's finally graduating. Oh, we get one off the payroll. So yeah, in May I'll be back in Texas. So
home sweet home.
Oh, yeah. I may go a lot of different places in the world, but I will always be a Texas girl.
Well, yeah, you always know the place that feels like home, and, it just takes you back.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
That was the other one. So I watched your camping video today, so I had 2 questions. Do you guys pack a small cooler when you go on trips like that, just, for whether water or maybe little condiments and stuff you want for your food, where you got a small cooler on your bike, or do you not?
Yeah. We have one. We're looking at trying to figure out if there's a way for us to either get a larger one or go to 2 small ones. But typically what we do when we're moto camping, because when you're camping off the bike, space is at a premium. Sure. But usually we will eat lunch out. And after lunch, we'll go by a local grocer wherever we are and buy dinner and breakfast and a bag of ice. And that's pretty much what we do every day.
Yeah, I was just curious about that. I mean, for me, when a bunch of the guys, when we did the Monsters ride, I took my backrest out and I picked up a nice heavy insulated cooler. And half the water bottles that I put in there, I just froze them. So they actually acted as my ice block. And then, some little snacks and other water bottles just to, stay hydrated. And I had that strapped to my back seat. So that basically became my backrest and, my cooler to keep, whatever you need to cool and whatnot. It worked out great.
Yeah, that's one. I found it that summer that we did that big trip, and it in my playlist. It was the epic summer road trip, And that's where we did California, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, a little bit of Nevada, Arizona, and then back into California. 16 days off the bike.
Oh, that's awesome. I think
but when you're rolling into Vegas in early August,
ooh,
yeah, we found hydration packs, a Camelback or a variation thereof. And so that's usually what we do and that's why we get the ice, because, you start off with frozen, but you can't necessarily, you're on day 2, it's already melted. So we do the ice and we'll fill it with ice and then fill it up with water. Mm-hmm. And it pretty much keeps it cold a good chunk of the day. And we'll go through liters and liters and liters of water that way, where otherwise I usually don't drink enough and end up dehydrated. And it's no different here.
I did that last summer, or was it this summer? My son had a baseball over in Yakima on Eastern Washington, and we were getting ready to leave, and it was 115 degrees. I'm like, I got to do something. So before the game was over, we'd ran to Dick's, and I bought a Camel Pack and opened the cooler, and I filled the whole thing full of ice and then water. And I only made it, an hour. We got stuck in some traffic at the Cascades on a side pass, and I was already out of water. And it was like a 2.5 liter Camel Pack, and luckily the wife was behind me, so refill.
There you go.
I went through so much water, and it was so freaking hot. But yeah, those Camel Packs definitely can come in handy when traveling, for sure. Especially, you can just keep drinking on the fly.
Well, but we also find it forces us to stop at regular intervals, because you have to find a bathroom somewhere. When you're drinking enough.
If you're not, then you're not drinking enough. If you're not finding those bath stops, which is a simple way to keep yourself in check. If you're not stopping for a bathroom, then you're not drinking enough water in those situations, which can be crucial to yourself.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, we're finding how much of it translates here, and it's going to be interesting because we are just coming into spring here. And like this week, it's supposed to get up to the mid 80s, about 30 degrees C. And then the next day, it's going to be mid 60s, like 19 degrees C. And I'm having to do all these weird conversions in my brain, and it's messing with me.
Oh, I don't doubt that one bit.
But once it turns hot here, it turns like south, like Texas, Louisiana, Florida, Mississippi, hot.
So in the summertime down there, do they get the humidity like the South, or?
No, it's fairly dry. It's pretty dry here. Even though we're 4 miles from the beach, it's still very, very dry. Kind of like the coast of California. Okay. The southern coast of California.
So the other question on your video, you guys, you got off the paved road, you kind of going down the dirt road. It looks like you almost might have had a little incident, because the clip I saw, I seen your handlebars going crazy for a second, then you dove off out of the what we call the cat tracks, and it's like, oh, that looks like it got a little sketchy for it for a second.
It did.
Yeah. I noticed, my shit, and then hit the shoulder where it's smoother.
Well, that particular place, it's about a 2.5 hour ride north of where I live. Mm-hmm. And you do like 7K, 3-4 miles on sealed pavement. And then once you get to like the information place, and then you get past that, the next 2 to 3K, depending on how far back into the park you go, is all dirt. And it's maintained dirt. But that first probably 500 yards is very washboard. And to be able to, and I'm pretty good running clutch and throttle, but at certain speeds, it just starts, your front wheel just starts walking, and I'm like, and let's just move on over.
Let's get to some smoother ground.
Yeah. But then you have to be careful because then you can get into deep sand.
Right. Yeah. All the
So
silt and
you,
the buildup on the side. Yeah. True.
yeah. So you really have to, yeah, being here and there, I've ridden more dirt since I've been here than I ever did ever before in my life. And it's definitely pushing my skills.
I could see that. Yeah. That's because when you're on a bagger, even like yours, your Road King, they're not small, they're not light bikes, and you get into some of that, the back roads and whatnot on dirt, even a good smooth dirt road, but still have some gravel on top, it's gonna move you around, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's a definite learning curve and a whole new respect for that road. I guess is a good way to put it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's definitely given me a respect for those that ride ADV bikes. And Allie has wanted a GS 1250 for years, years and years and years. And I keep telling him, go buy the damn bike, baby. No,
They're oh,
and I
I
went,
would
okay, if it makes you feel
yeah.
better, I'll go buy one with you.
You can go get the Pan American. He can get the GS. There you go. You can
Well, no,
do
I want to.
tests.
Oh, Perth Harley's already told us that they'll loan us a Pan America for the weekend if he wants to try one.
But yeah,
And
those
and
GSs are tried and true and proven. I
they
mean,
are.
that's when it comes to adventure touring. I mean, that's the best name of the game right there.
One of the dealerships that we frequented whenever we were in California, Santa Maria. So they were a Harley, a BMW, and a Honda dealer. And you have to understand because it was almost in the middle of nowhere in that part of California. And they did a demo day and they invited the local leaders that I was a part of. And so we got to try all these different bikes. So, I got to try the 1250 RT. Nice bike. I tried the R18 from BMW. I tried the Honda Rebel, their automatic one.
Hmm.
I mean, all great bikes. But Allie got to try the GS 1250, and he came back and he stepped off and he pulled his helmet off and he went, "I'm in lust."
A buddy of mine, he bought one. It was just before we were doing the Monsters Over Mountains. He had I think his was an 800, and he didn't think it was enough that he could keep up on the highway, so he went and bought a 1250, I think it was,
Yeah.
GS. Like the week before the ride, he's like, I want to make sure I can keep up. I'm like, really? And he pulls up, he's like, damn. I mean, he bought it used, but it only had like 4,000 miles. The guy had
Oh,
done
that's
all the
practically brand new.
suspension. Yeah, it had the upgrades. I mean, all the panniers on it, the tour pack, upgraded suspension, front and rear, the GPS from BMW. I mean, the list of upgrades this thing had that the individual put on it was unreal. And oh, that bike was impressive. And the funny thing I laughed about, it's like he would only fuel up at every other gas stop for us because he's got a 9-gallon freaking gas tank. Like,
Yeah.
that's got to be nice. Holy crap. The range is
Well,
unbelievable.
those things are designed to go out here in the outback and
Yeah.
just go. I know personally, I am not looking at the Pan America for one reason and one reason only. They only have a 1250. And if I've got all my panniers and all of that and I'm on a dirt road and I drop it,
Yeah.
I don't know if I could pick one back up by myself. Not fully loaded like that. I would have to completely unload it.
I'm
Um,
waiting to see if they're going to bring out that because they have the smaller Revolution engine. I believe I want to say it was a 900. I'm waiting to
yeah,
see if they're going to bring out a Pan American with this smaller engine. I think that'd be genius if Harley did.
it would. And if they did, I would probably go with it because I love Harleys. I have after riding with all the women that I ride with here who ride KTMs and BMWs and Suzukis and Yamahas and Hondas, and I have a real respect for each bike has something that's truly unique and special about it. I love
Agree.
Harleys. I truly love Harleys. And right now, the BMW GS 750 is the one that if I was to go and buy a bike today, that ADV bike, that'd be the one I'd buy. But if Harley will come out with a smaller Pan America, ooh, that'd be a tough one.
I would love to have a BMW GS. I mean, I would love to do the Alaska, go up to Alaska and ride up to the North Pole, or not the North Pole, but up to the Bering Sea. I think it'd be
Yeah.
awesome, do the Dalton Highway, but I think on an ADV bike would be the way to go. I've seen many people have done it on their baggers or Harleys, and hey, much respect to those individuals, but I'd rather do it on a bike that's built for that road.
Well, and I forget who popped it up. It was somewhere in the comments earlier asking if we'd ever looked at buying a trailer to trailer our bikes.
Oh, that was spring
And
bike.
yeah,
Or I don't think
and that's
so much it was here it is, a trailer to pull behind your bike.
yeah. And so what we're actually looking at, because we have a 4x4 Prado, which is it's just not too dissimilar from the Forerunner. And so what we would love to do, because once you get into the outback, half the roads are sealed, half of them are dirt. And even the highways are maintained dirt roads. And you can only do so much of that on, a Road King. One of the things we'd love to do is to get a rooftop tent for our Prado. And then they have the most amazing setups where you open the back door and you pull out a tray and you've got your like mini fridge cooler and all of your camp
Yeah.
stove and everything, and then have the bikes on the back. So, we can drive to a location, even if we have to go, 100, 200K, 100, 150 miles on a dirt road before we get back to some place that has sealed roads that are right for the big touring bikes. That's one of the things we've looked at. But, if we end up with a pair of ADV bikes, we'd probably travel on those.
Well, you're talking about that. I know ARB makes a 280-degree awning for a lot of those rigs
Yeah.
that goes all the way around. So you get your rooftop tent. You can put an awning all the way around your vehicle, and so you got protection from the weather too. And Australia has some. They get some really sweet Toyotas down there. Their Land Cruisers and
Oh, yeah.
the trucks they get that they don't sell up here in the States with the diesels in them. And you guys do down there have some sweet toys that you can play with too when it comes to four wheels.
Oh, yeah. That's an area that we don't know too much about because, anytime I've ever gone off road, it's always been on like back in the day, it was a three-wheeler, or what do they call them, quads?
Mm-hmm.
I've done that, but getting off in a true 4x4 situation, I haven't really done yet. And so that there's a learning curve there still too. But yeah, the diesels they have here, and they're designed for the way people travel here.
Mm-hmm.
And like the campground we were in, and I only showed little clips of it in my video because we hiked the whole way. And there were sections that you really do need a 4x4, not so much for the 4x4 pull, but for the clearance. Because it's very rocky, it's all of that. So there's sections that we couldn't get to. But there were some sections that they call the bush site that as long as the road's been maintained, we could probably get our Road Kings back there. So it really does depend here because some things you do need a 4x4. You need that clearance. But
Right.
so it's just, it's learning new things and expanding the channel a bit. And so as we get a little bit more into it and figure out how everything works here, and
It's
budgets are
learning
so disrespectful of us wanting to buy toys,
Yeah.
but having to budget out some things. Yeah, we're going to be expanding and doing some things because, you can't be here and not take advantage of the amazing opportunity it is to explore in a part of the world we never thought we would ever see.
Good point. That's very well said. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're in a beautiful piece of the world and might as well see as much of it as you can. And I don't know if limited time is right, but you're figuring you guys have a few years there, but time flies. We all know how fast time goes by. So
Well,
try to
whenever I
make the best
realized
of
I've
it and
already
go.
booked, Yeah, I'm already booking out. Like half of my 2024 is already booked out with trips. It's like,
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
plan ahead.
Oh,
Oh, but
but
some of those
yeah,
adventures,
it's
I can't wait to see your videos and stuff you do from those. It's gonna, especially Tasmania, that would be so freaking cool.
oh yeah.
Even
I'm so
Thailand, I
looking
mean,
forward to
that's
it.
be awesome. I mean, I've seen some videos and pictures and whatnot, but it's still nothing compared to seeing it with your own eyes.
Yeah. And you realize cameras don't they just don't do it justice. They really don't.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
Yeah.
So actually, Mike had one. I think you kind of touched on this. What do you have to do to your bikes to register them for Australia? Was there, I know you talked a little
Oh,
bit about some of the struggles and whatnot, but
oh, that was just getting them shipped. Once we got them shipped and got them here, now Allie's bike, we got his bike here on like a Friday afternoon. They had Cherry on a lift on Tuesday doing the mods we needed. I think 2 weeks after we received her, she was, everything we needed, she was registered. Um, all that they had to do is, and I didn't realize this, but they're on our odometers. Did you know that Harleys, you can switch them back and forth between miles and kilometers on your handlebar?
no.
Yeah, I learned it. It's really quite easy, but they have to plug it in and convert it from US um, to the international settings. So that was like
Hmm.
a plug in, type on the computer, verify that it went through and unplug it. And on the back of both of ours, we had the red auxiliary brake running turn signal lights on the back, LEDs.
Hmm.
And you can't have them red here. They have to be amber. So that was really the only modification that we had to do was just taking the,
That's stupid.
oh, it, you know what? They probably would say that about some of our laws in the US too. So
I don't know. I
it's
just
just,
think of it as
yeah.
a safety aspect. All of us, the biggest thing, the more lights you can have, especially on the back,
Oh,
the safer you can be. But yeah, when they won't allow them red, they got to be amber. It's like, okay, whatever.
yeah. And they cannot be running lights. They have to be turn signals only.
Hmm.
And
Interesting.
yeah, it's odd. It was, it was, I'm thinking the same as you. It's a safety thing. Let me leave them red, but they don't do that here. So it was really the only change. My problem that we found out with Scarlett and what took her so much longer was my ABS module was blown. And when he and I had gone out to the Sequoias, I had just had the tires replaced on Scarlett. And when they put the rear tire back on, shit happens. The wires for my brake light and turn signals were popped out of the clip. So they were just rubbing on the tire and it created a short. So I'm riding along in, what was it, Visalia, um, California. And all of a sudden, my speedometer, all my electronics went dead. It was, I mean, I could still ride her. It didn't die on me, but everything in my instrument cluster went blank. And so there again, great experience with the Harley dealership. We got her over there. They got her in within 2 hours. They figured out what the problem was and fixed it. What we didn't know is the ABS module is like 2/3 of it is the mechanical hydraulic pump. The other third of it is the electronic sensor pack. And it was that sensor pack was fried. So I was riding on it for like 8 months in the US, and I had multiple close calls because it would lock up my rear brake. And when I talk about close calls, I mean one where it locked up going around a corner, and I did this and then down into a parking lot, and I was probably down to 5 miles an hour whenever I finally just laid her down. And so just several things like that. I didn't know it. Well, had we not been where they had to change some things on the rear of the light assembly. We would have never known it. Riding her now is like riding a completely different bike.
See, that happened to a friend of mine, Frank O'Neill. He's known as Watch Out For Us on social media. He was doing an iron butt. I want to say it was one of the season change ones, and he was like 800-ish miles in when that sensor went out on the rear of his bike and stopped him. Fried all of his instruments, same thing you said, locked up his brakes, and he was done. He couldn't go anywhere, and it was the ABS sensor on the rear of his Road King that stopped his, ride that night.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that doesn't happen often. It's rare. It's like less than 1% of all Road Kings ever made does this happen to. Or, since they've put the ABS module on them. So it's not something that when you go in for your oil change, they're just going to check. Unless you go in knowing there's a problem. And the funny thing is they couldn't figure out what's going on. They put it on the machine and they checked all the electronics and they couldn't find it. And the Harley dealership that I trust, Perth, has a sister one, Rockingham, and they share a Master Tech. And the Master Tech was up in Perth, and he looked at it and he's like, well, I don't know what's going on in everything. It was his apprentice that went, I think I found it. So it was someone who's training to be a Master Tech who found the problem.
There you go.
And so, they still give him shit for that.
Hey, why not? That's a good one.
But so they found it. But then, of course, it was on back order. And, okay, it'll be here in 3 weeks. 3 weeks comes around. Oh, they pushed it back 4 weeks. Oh, well, they pushed it back another 4 weeks. And I'm like, no. But fortunately, because I didn't have any vehicle registered under my name, we're able to call my bike my primary mode of transportation. So the day that the first one hit Australia, it was shipped immediately and I got it.
Oh, nice.
Uh-huh.
Hey, that worked out. It still was a little bit of a delay, but...
Yeah, but as soon as a part was available, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anything
VIP
like
status.
that's... Yeah. So anytime I have something that's a safety issue, that's how it goes into the system because it's the only vehicle I registered in my name.
Oh, shit. That's smart. There you go.
So I automatically go to the front of the line.
Perfect. Oh, that's awesome. Well, shoot, man. Thanks for, I guess, getting up early. I would say, take time out of your evening like most people. But since you're on the other side of the world, it's your morning time, my evening time. And no, this has been a lot of fun catching up. It's been a while, and it's always fun.
It has been good. It's been a long time. I know. Whenever you said February of 21, I'm like, man, that's been a while.
Yeah, January 13th of 21, episode 22 was when you got introduced to the V-Twin life, and we built a friendship after that, and here we are almost over 50 episodes later, and we get you back on YouTube and hang out and hear stories of all your new adventures from the land down under.
It is. It's definitely an experience. It's one I'm glad I'm having. It hasn't been easy, but it's been worth it.
I think in a situation like that, none of them are going to be easy, especially moving halfway across the world, but you adapt, you overcome, and you explore new regions and have epic adventures.
Exactly. And it's life.
True. Well, thank you. I mean, you got anything you want to plug? Let anybody know where they can follow your adventures or anything you got coming up that you want to share with the world?
Just, my primary platforms are here on YouTube, and then my secondary is Instagram, Robin the Lady Biker. I do have some Facebook presence, but not much. But it's kind of hard for me to say, any special adventures or whatever going on because I'm still learning, and someone's like, oh yeah, what you go here and you here and you go here and then you're there. And I'm like, can you show me on a map? So, literally everything we do is new. And put one up about our trip up to Jurien Bay to Sandy Cape. Oh, Calberry. If you want to see some unique footage, it was a 3 video series. Um, and it's one of my top ones on my playlist right now if you go and look. But that was a beautiful area. I mean, totally beautiful area. And if you're ever here in Australia, people reach out because I can connect y'all with some fun people here in the motorcycle community. It is they are a unique, special, crazy, you never know what you're going to get into group, and I adore them.
That's awesome. I need to win the
Yeah.
lotto so I can come down there and hang out for a few weeks.
We got a spare bedroom.
Oh shit! Don't tempt me. Oh damn it!
And
would
I
be
know
fun.
someone,
Oh.
I can hook you up with a great rental company so you can rent you a street glide or something while you're here.
Oh hey, even crap, honey. So hey, thank you so much, Rob. This has been so much fun. It's always good catching up, and I've like I said, the biggest thing of this is the friendship I built with everybody, and you were one of the first people and the first 20ish that had came on. So it's great to get you back again and continue the adventures and hear what's going on. So thank you very much for coming on and hanging out.
Well, thank you so much for asking. I enjoyed it. And yeah, I've got to get into my Monday. I've got another video to get edited before. So I have something for Thursday before I go camping.
Hey, there you go. More moto camping. I'm jealous. So, hey,
Oh
everybody,
yeah.
thank you for tuning in to Milepost 78 with Robin the Lady Biker. And, hey, follow her on Instagram, YouTube, and follow her adventures as she's enjoying the great moto camping when we're all coming into winter. We're all a little jealous, Robin. Hey,
Well,
thank you
whenever
so
it's
much.
all beautiful, I'm cold, so it works
There you
out.
go. Perfect. Hey, everybody, ride safe, have fun, enjoy the open road, and stay tuned for the Milepost 78, or excuse me, 79 for the guests we got coming. It's going to be a good time. Hey, see you all guys later.
Good night, everyone.